Hello, everyone, and this is the first video that's been on the Meodred channel in a long ass time. Kind of fell out of love with MMA and from the sports standpoint, at least from like covering the UFC, because when I cover something, I tend to go full out. I tend to go real deep, and unfortunately, that means you discover all kinds of problems. So what am I going to use this channel for right now? And that is, right now I'm a little bit bored in terms of been underemployed because of the whole pandemic. And as a result, got some time on my hands. Sure, I can do other things, and I'm working out more, trying to lose this whole like fat region here. It's actually coming along pretty nicely. And also, video games, etc. But I wanted something else. I wanted something to scratch the MMA itch. And of course, I am watching MMA, but wanted to go somewhere with it. And I wanted to bring back the old MMA Simulator that I worked on back in college and have been working on year after year after year, trying to improve it a little bit here and there. I mean, at this point, we're up to 14 years of work thrown into this thing. So, pretty big. Yet the graphics still absolutely suck. Someday I'll get with someone who can do graphics and maybe flush something out here. Anyways, what are we doing here? We are what I'm doing here is I have started a online fighting championship, OFC, with the name of it, unless someone has something better for it. And I will be running weekly cards, which in simulated time will be every 2 months to allow for recovery, improvement, etc. And you can have a fighter in there. You just got to give me the details. There's a Discord server down below. You can contact me there or leave a comment on the video. And I will also be publishing a radio-style play-by-play of the fight of the night from each card. Now, in theory, this means that once a week there will be a fight play-by-play. This week, I'm filming this on March 29th, so the March 29th into April week, there will be 2, because I got really busy last week and was unable to publish the OFC 4 play-by-play, I think. Yeah, it'll be 4 and 5 this week. So we got that coming out. And basically it'll be whatever the most exciting fight, the weirdest finish, whatever. The most interesting to give a play-by-play to. So that means if you have a big clinch fest where it's up against the cage and wall install, probably not going to be the fight of the night. Probably not. But a quick knockout or a drag-out brawl or whatever, that we can probably make happen. All right. Then the other thing I want to talk about is, okay, what are the rules? So the rules to this are just the UFC's unified rules, basically. Now, there are a couple of exceptions, a couple of repurposing things. Number 1, needs to have a ground opponent permitted. Number 2, 12 to 6 elbows, forget it. Not a thing I'm interested in eliminating. It's something that has always been a bit of a stupid rule from like just a reasoning point of view, and we're not going to deal with that. Other than that, there's going to be some things around judging and refereeing that are a little bit different. The judges will be vaguely competent. Now, each judging file does have some differences, so you could have the same round be scored 3 different ways, in theory. Although that would be a very weird round, because having a 10-8 for somebody, but having it be not a round they necessarily won, that'd be a bit weird. So probably just 2 different ways, like 10-9 one way, 10-9 the other way. But otherwise the rules are the same: effective grappling, effective striking, aggression, octagon control, etc. Damage, all that things. Closer to ending the fight, that'll be a big thing as well. And for refereeing, the refs will handle things more or less the same. The only difference is that within the sim, fouls are much harshly punished, meaning we'll see points get taken away more. You kick a guy in the groin, yeah, the first one's probably a warning. Second one's a point. And no, none of this, okay, you get a warning for a groin strike, you get a warning for an eye poke, you get a warning for this. No. You get a warning. maybe 2 if we're talking something very, very, very minor. But you poke a guy in the eye, that's a hard warning. Next foul is taking a point. So that's going to be the differences in terms of refereeing. The weight classes are going to be the same. The only difference is I'm going to call light heavyweight cruiserweight. If the roster gets large enough, I am open to coming up with different weight classes and different names. I wanted to avoid the boxing thing where you get like the junior and the super weight classes. Just because it becomes a bit of a jumble. That being said, if we could come up with ways to recreate weight classes, move things around, I am fine with that. I have researched some guidelines for weight cutting to try to inform upon decisions as to where people fit in a weight class. Because obviously, those who are MMA fans will know. Those who are not MMA fans may not know. You don't really fight at your standard weight class. Or you're walking around weight. Like, I walk around. When I last fought, this was a long time ago, I was in college, fought at 185 pounds. I have not been 185 pounds since high school, like in terms of a walking around weight. From college onwards, it's been north of 200. So there's been a cut of, I would say at best, 20 pounds. You know, diet down and then cut the water weight. And sometimes more. So I've tried to come up with a way to get that, because that's the one thing that we're going to have a hard time doing, is that at the end of the day, so many people, unless they're into MMA or wrestling or submission grappling, have never done or not even into, but they've been actively participating, have not done a weight cut. So we really don't know. Everyone's body reacts a little bit different. There are guys who cut extreme amounts of weight. There are guys that don't. We were having this conversation watching the UFC on Saturday. This was the Ngannou versus Stipe Miocic card. We were talking about Michael Oleksiejczuk, who is a Polish light heavyweight who probably is more middleweight size, but we were debating about maybe there was some issues that prevent him from being able to weight cut, because he's weighed in as low as something like 202 pounds. So it does seem like definitively he is a very small 205er, probably the smallest 205er on the UFC roster right now. Then there are people like Jordan Williams, who's a diabetic, and weight cutting's a bit hard for him. He's going to be fighting a size disadvantage pretty much anytime he's in the UFC. So we've done the research there to try to figure out what is kind of an average weight cut. What can we do with that to fix people? And there's also a size guide. If you're super, super short for a division, we might allow you to cut down more. So how does the sim work? I should get into that. So the sim creates a fighter profile for you. The usual stuff. Name, nickname if you want one, the gym you're training out of, height, reach, weight, all those things. Are you right-handed or are you left-handed? Are you ambidextrous, etc. And then it develops a technical, mental, and physical profile. So on the technical side, you have basically your technical striking. How well do you punch? How technically proficient are your kicks? How technically proficient is your ability to throw knees in the clinch? Where's your dirty boxing at? What's your shot wrestling technical ability? What's your clinch wrestling technical ability? What is your submission game like? All of these things. That's technical. Then you have your physical side, which is how fast, how powerful, how strong, how coordinated, how flexible, how durable are you? How durable are your various parts? So subsection into that. And then on the mental side, you have basically the kind of catch-all fight IQ. How good are you at game planning for an opponent? How good are you at adjusting during the fight? How good are you at following corner advice? How good are you at looking at things within the fight to use? And then there's how creative are you as well? Because a very smart fighter could be theoretically uncreative, throwing very much the same kind of responses every time. There's not a lot of new thought process in the fight. But a creative fighter brings that to the table. And then also there's the mental toughness. Are you a bully? Are you going to break when the person pushes back? Are you going to be in trouble when you are hurt? Are you going to give up? Where is your give up phase? Like, are we talking, do you fight through like do you, like Uriah Faber, fight through broken hands to get to a decision? Or are you more like trying to think of someone who, maybe Max Roshkov comes to mind, although I don't really want to pile on Max Roshkov, because I feel like he was rushed into the UFC and just wasn't ready. He might come back, he might be something, but based on his first UFC fight, which he lost by quitting in the corner, are you somewhere there? A good way to create a fighter is to create a flawed fighter, because unflawed fighters are boring to a degree. I mean, we're here to have fun. Don't get me wrong. If you were trying to become a UFC level fighter in real life, you would want to be flawless. You would want to be the John Jones, the George St. Pierre, although George actually had some flaws in the sense that the face was very remarkable. So actually, even there, classic, flaw. There's a flaw. But we're looking more like these guys like Mark Hunt or Ben Rothwell, Demian Maia. Although hopefully no one with that good of grappling, but you get what I mean. There's aspects of the game that they're weak at. That's probably the best thing. I will create some fodder fighters just to fill things out, and also just to help people out, because obviously if you start having a losing streak, we don't want to cut a fighter. We don't want to cut a viewer's fighter from the thing, but we also don't want to see you go on like a 17 fight losing streak. So we'll bring in a can for you to face off with at some point and get that win. And the fighters will also develop over time, because if you're at a good gym, and particularly if you have good mental attributes or good physical attributes, the technical aspects can get a lot better through that, because good training of a good athlete develops better technical abilities, and a smarter guy will also just kind of like learn faster, pick things up, and be more open to it. Be a little bit of like a fighter coach almost. So there's that. So if you're interested in this, like I said, drop a line down in the comments below, join up on the Discord server, and we'll make it happen. Let's see here. I'll give you kind of like just trying to think if there's anything else at all I want to cover. There's not really anything else coming to mind. So, okay. The question everyone else is like, okay, what do you want to know to develop this fighter? Okay, well, we're looking for any athletic experience you have. Were you a football player? Were you a soccer player? Were you a baseball player? These are things that we can kind of group in based on how those athletics have transitioned to MMA. What has been good about them? What has been bad about them? What is your combat sports background? Did you take karate? Were you a taekwondo guy? Have you done Muay Thai? Have you done Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? Were you a wrestler in college or high school? Were you into sambo, judo, whatever the case may be? Give me that. And then also just some things. We've all had schoolyard fights, or well, most of us have had schoolyard fights or whatever. Scraps in a bar, whatever makes the story of you as a fighter. You give me that, and we push something out. This has gone on for about 13 minutes. I think that's pretty sufficient. If you have any questions, below, Discord server, there you go. Have a good day, and hope you guys are all staying safe.